welcome to episode 40 of Me Dark Presents Scary Movie Madness.
We made it!
I think this is the last Scary Movie Madness of the year before we transition over to Christmas movies.
Yeah, but it's crazy because there's so many Christmas horror movies coming out. So now I'm like, I don't know. Should we just keep it as horror?
I don't know. I would like a break into the Christmas movies. But
You'd like to not watch some blood and guts for a little bit.
yeah, I mean, maybe what we'll do. I mean, we've been doing so many new movies anyway, and
Yeah.
this whole episode, obviously, because this is a Thanksgiving episode.
Aptly.
We went and we saw Thanksgiving last night, Eli Roth's Thanksgiving. So that's the only movie we're going to be talking about today, and I think we're going to play a game at the end.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy how long ago that Thanksgiving trailer came out and like people are still so attached to that this is like such an exciting release. Like that trailer from Grindhouse was so iconic that like almost 20 years later, we're like, yes, we finally got the movie.
I think it's funny because my cousin, he watches this podcast and he messaged me, but he had no idea that Thanksgiving, he didn't know about the Thanksgiving trailer.
What?
Didn't know it existed.
Didn't know about the Grindhouse one?
Well, yeah. But I mean, think about it. We are talking what? It was 2007 when that came
I think.
out?
Was
Okay.
it?
I think it was 2007.
I think it's 7 or 8, something like that. Because I was in LA at the time, so it had to be around there. Yeah.
Yeah, and for people who don't know, they did a double feature Grindhouse event.
Tarantino was involved.
Yeah, Quentin Tarantino was the director of one of the films, and Robert Rodriguez directed the other one.
Yeah.
But so it was like a double header. When you went to the movies, you got both. But beforehand, they thought it would be a cute idea because they were playing off of the whole Grindhouse, look and feel and theme. They wanted to have...
They had a bunch of trailers.
Wanted to have a bunch of trailers. Machete was one of them.
Machete
or whatever. Yeah.
And then they made that.
Thanksgiving was another one of the trailers.
The best.
And Eli Roth was in the trailer, the Thanksgiving trailer.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, they're all kind of like that, where they're like, given that like Tarantino's in Planet Terror.
Is he?
Yeah. It's the iconic, like his balls melt off moment.
Yeah, those movies are awesome. They're crazy.
Penis melts off.
Yeah, they're so good.
And it's amazing when it happens. Yeah, he's in that one.
I know. Famously, I think Tarantino sort of he's not happy with how Death Proof came out. I think he always sort of like puts that one down.
Yep.
But I don't know. There's some really, really great moments in that movie, and there's some really, obviously it's Tarantino, there's some great dialogue heavy scenes that are really, really good.
Rose McGowan
and sort of unexpected for the genre,
Yeah, I think like that, I mean, the whole experience, I remember going to the theater, and that theater now, the one that I saw it at is Tarantino's, and he's redoing it.
Oh, yeah.
It's like an iconic, like old theater, and it was literally like going to the movies, but it had the red curtains and it was all like ornate inside.
Very
and
cool.
Like you're going and we were watching Grindhouse, and it's done so well. It fit the whole vibe of the experience. And I remember it was like a big thing. Like it was hard to get tickets to see it at that specific theater.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Of course.
It was great. And now they're redoing that theater. So that's cool. Anyway.
All right. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Basically what we're going to do, because it is a brand new movie. I mean, I think it literally just started having showings like 2 days ago.
Yep.
I said we should kind of keep this spoiler free. I think the way that we're going to do it is in the beginning, when we're talking about the movie, is going to be all spoiler free.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to cue you when there's going to be spoilers, so you can, click ahead or skip or whatever if you haven't seen the movie yet. Or if you don't care, you can just keep listening and onto the spoilers. I do notice, like, I have friends of mine that don't mind spoilers at all. In fact, it's almost like required to get them to watch a movie.
Yeah, they
like
have to
tell
hear
them
that there's something
cool about it, and
chaotic.
they're like, I have to see that.
Yeah. I mean, I will do my best not to say spoilers, but like my brain doesn't work that way. What I think just comes out. So good luck.
Yeah, I've been sort of thinking a lot about it because we're trying to get like more tight format on the show. I was thinking a lot about like, okay, how do you treat spoilers? Because a lot of times we are, talking about movies that maybe people haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
So it becomes a little hard to, listen to a show or a podcast about, talking about a movie that you haven't seen, because it's just like, I don't want to know all the details.
Yeah, like we want to be ahead of the game
Right.
and talk about it like when things come out, like this one. We literally saw it on Friday and like today we're talking about it. But at the same time, you want to give people space. But it's like, I want to be in the early stages of getting to talk about it.
I'm curious to see how this one goes in this kind of format, because maybe this is something we can implement moving forward, where you start off kind of spoiler free, and it's more maybe about the overall like general scorecard of how we feel about it, and then we can go into specifics.
Some of the chaos.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
All right. So let's move on to our first segment here. We always want to get into the nitty gritty horror news and things that's going on. So what is Screamin'?
Okay. We've got some fun stuff today.
All right,
one
great.
that's going to make you mad, but then maybe make you intrigued.
Okay.
So, in the vein of make new things, we are not making new things. There is a reboot of The People Under the Stairs.
Oh, okay. Yeah, here we go.
So there's not much about it yet. It just seems that it is moving forward. There's not a cast or anything like that. However, it is being produced by Jordan Peele.
Okay.
So that's interesting, because here's the thing. People Under the Stairs is an iconic story. Like, it could have been great, and it was poorly executed.
It's heralded as a great movie. I would disagree.
I think the idea is great.
Oh, you like the
like the story and the concept of like what it could be, and then I think it cheesed out in a lot of ways, and like there was just parts of it that didn't really hold up as you watch it now. So knowing that Jordan Peele's going to bring it in, interestingly enough, it seems like it will be in partnership with Monkey Paw Productions and Universal Studios. So probably a pretty big push behind it as well. So it could be good.
I'm sure they're going to market the crap out of it.
They're going to market the crap.
I mean, like, because we talked about this. You have an existing IP with, and like I'd mentioned, it was a popular film. It people really love it. I don't know what. I mean, listen.
There's some scenes in that are brutal.
Yeah, and if you're finding the podcast for the first more recently, you don't know the older episodes. We dove into Wes Craven in a lot of the episodes.
Yep.
And I sort of landed on, I'm not a Wes Craven fan, other than Scream. I think that besides that movie.
I'm pretty sure we have an iconic moment of you just screaming,
yes,
Wes Craven, fuck you.
And it has to do with People Under the Stairs.
It does. It's the knife. Isn't it the knife in the door?
Yeah.
I love it so much.
Yeah.
All right. Well, another fun piece of news.
Okay.
There is a Chucky board game coming.
A board game?
A board game! All right.
Who's playing board games?
I love board games.
I know you love board games, but I wouldn't expect there to be a market for this.
Same. It's very weird because, like, what are you giving it to kids? Like, I don't understand, I don't know about kids playing a Chucky board game.
I think actually kids would be less likely to play a board game now than an adult would.
I know, that's so weird.
Well,
I mean, I guess, like, again, everything is very digital. But anyway,
yes.
It is seemingly cool. It's kind of Clue-ish. So the game is for 2 to 4 players, 14 and up. So yeah, not really for kids. Definitely a different audience. And you're really trying to collect evidence about strange murders, and in the process, trying to avoid Chucky. So there's a bunch of different things. You'll have the ability to do these investigations that build skills and the ability to move forward and, again, avoid Chucky in different scenarios. The board game itself looks pretty interesting. They went very true to like OG Child's Play colors, the yellow and the red, all of that. But just seems like fun, like kind of like, all right, we got the Babadook book. You kind of have to have the Chucky game if we got Chucky.
I mean, yeah, I'll buy it, but I mean,
100%.
We'll probably play it once and that'll be that.
Yeah, true. Yeah. But it's for the nostalgia.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of games, again, I ended up with a What's Screamin' here because
encroaching on my segment.
In researching the Thanksgiving movie,
yep.
I came across they made a game. They made a game for the Thanksgiving movie and you can play it online. It's like a web browser game.
Oh.
So you just go to survivethanksgiving.com. I was playing with it a little bit. You get like text you walk around as the turkey mascot. That's your character. And you start off like you're in the parade.
Yeah.
And then there's it's a very small little map and you sort of use your keyboard and mouse to look around.
Mm-hmm.
And you get little text messages from the characters and they'll sort of direct you. Like I got one from Scuba and he's like, I'm at the high school.
Yep.
And so I went into the high school and there's nobody in there, and it like gets kind of scary where you're kind of looking for him. He's like, I'm in the gym. And I'm like, I don't know where the gym is. But I was like moving around, and then like you can kind of use the mouse you can do like a 360 spin. So like you'll hear stuff. So I kept like spinning around and like try to see. I bet you it would be awesome to play with like a headset on. It feels like it could actually be kind
of scary. VR game, you mean?
Yeah.
Now I got to check it out.
Yeah, it was kind of fun. So I thought I'd mention it on the pod.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's a great connection because we're talking about the movie now.
We're talking about Eli Roth's Thanksgiving 2023. Yeah, much anticipated. And like we had mentioned earlier at the top, from, the original Grindhouse films where this idea sparked, how many years have passed? 16?
16
something
at least.
Like that. So yeah, a very long runway to get here, but we finally did. Now,
here we are.
Disappointing at first, because you're the one that told me about this movie coming out, and you said that there was a trailer, so we gathered around and watched it. I was like curious to see what he did with it, and they deleted the Grindhouse from it.
Yeah, it's not the same vibe.
No, not at all. In fact, I went back and I watched, the old trailer and then the new trailer, and then I was like listening to interviews with Eli Roth, and he was talking about how like when he was a kid, he always dreamed of when he grew up and to make movies, he wanted to make a movie like Halloween.
Yeah.
Or like Scream. Like those were he knew he wanted to do like a slasher kind of movie like that, like those. And if you watch the 2007 trailer, the Grindhouse one, it's sort of shot a lot more like John Carpenter's Halloween.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I sort of like pieced the two together, because when he said he wanted to make a movie like Halloween or Scream, it sort of jarred in my head, like, let me go back and watch it. And I noticed like there's a lot of those sort of like the first person camera moves of like how Mike Myers would sort of stalk you outside the house and look in through the window. And
they had a lot of
grandma's washing the dishes, and you see it's just like the hand pick up, like you're the killer.
Yeah.
And they used to do that with Michael Myers in the Halloween movies.
Yep.
So I think that was like the disappointment, was like, I wanted Thanksgiving to be shot like that.
And it's more Scream.
Yeah. So Eli Roth, famous for Cabin Fever. It was one of his earlier horror movies. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he did Hostel, which I think Hostel became a little bit of a series of films, right?
Yeah, they have a bunch of sequels.
I think I've only seen the first one.
I've seen the first two.
So right off the bat, I'll admit, I was never really a big Eli Roth fan. Like Cabin Fever was kind of okay, but it was kind of cheese to me.
The first Hostel's pretty good.
So then I think the first Hostel is sort of when he starts putting more of his stamp on like his style, right? And Hostel, when it came out, it had a lot of shock value. There was like really over the top, like gross kills.
Yeah, it was very Saw-like.
Mm-hmm.
It was a different kind of Saw.
And in speaking about the making of this movie, Thanksgiving, he talks about how much they put into the kills, how he wears it as a badge of honor.
Yep.
And it was like the perfect way for him to just describe him as a filmmaker, because I do find myself, after watching an Eli Roth movie, and Thanksgiving is by far no exception. In fact, probably the greatest example of his work up to this date is Thanksgiving. He is masterful at memorable, brutal, gory, over-the-top kills.
And things that normally are cheesed out on. Like, it would be a good kill, but you don't go as far as he goes. He goes as far as, like, pulling sausage-sized intestines out of a dumpster.
Yeah.
You know, like...
It's nuts.
Crazy the detail of the gore that he puts in there.
Yeah. He's building... It's almost like he builds the movie or the framework of the movie around that. Like, he knows
he wants these kills this way.
But this is my specialty, right? He wants to highlight the fact that when you walk away from this movie, that's the thing that you're going to take with you. That's what you're going to remember. Because I think, like... It's a reflection of his personality in a way. He's kind of like a goofy, over-the-top kind of guy, I think, just regularly. Which is always like that Bear Jew character.
Literally in my head right now, I was going, the Bear Jew.
Right? I mean, what a great scene.
What a great everything. Yeah. Inglourious Bastards, if those listening don't know what we're referencing.
Inglourious Bastards. Yeah, what a phenomenal, one of my favorite Tarantino movies.
One of your favorites.
He's in it as the Bear Jew.
Yeah.
And it ends up being perfect too, because he kills a Nazi in brutal fashion with his little baseball bat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean that's where like I think you need to start with Eli Roth is like, and this movie
Understanding that's his specialty.
Yeah.
That's what he wins at.
and
For sure.
this movie is fun. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, like again, like we're not looking at an Oscar-worthy film here, right? We're
Well, we'll
looking
get to
at
that, yeah.
an interesting horror watch that keeps you jumping out of your seat.
I like it too because Thanksgiving is always sort of like a traditionally like kind of shit on holiday.
It's awful. Like I hate it.
So it's like you had, Adam Sandler was the one to make a song about it, which I always thought was hilarious. Because it's like, yeah, why does nobody? It was always like just there for the taking, right? And he's like, fine, I'll do it. I'll make a Thanksgiving song, And it's the same thing with this. Like, I know that there's been other Thanksgiving movies that were, but like nothing that was.
Oh, I looked this up for games.
Okay.
There's actually a lot of Thanksgiving horror movies.
There is, right?
There's a lot of them, and some of them don't have titles that you would think. So I almost was going to play that game with you of like, is this one a Thanksgiving horror or no? But it's more of like, oh, it's set at Thanksgiving. Like there was the Seance. There's Pilgrim. There's Thanksgiving. There's Thanksgiving, but with an X instead of a K and an S. Like,
doesn't one of them have a literal turkey as a killer too?
I don't know. Fun fact, Poultrygeist, set on Thanksgiving.
Oh, is it?
There is actually quite a few, but I think it goes all along with the joke, like nobody cares.
Yeah, so I mean a lot of fun. And the kills are gory, they're fantastic.
Yeah. And before they happen, you're going, the whole time.
And that was another one of my, because right off the bat, like when you think about things that you like about the movie, like I said, that's what really sticks out.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of really great moments in this movie where you do feel uncomfortable. Like that feeling you get when you watch a horror movie and you're sort of squirming in your chair.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I think seeing it in the theater, I highly recommend. Because anytime you can go see a horror movie that has these really intense kills and does utilize jump scares in the best way, because he didn't overdo jump scares.
Mm-hmm.
And that's key. Like once you get too many of them, it's like, okay.
It becomes.
They were used so well, and even like just leading up to a kill, like you knew what was about to happen, but you were saying to yourself like, no, all the way until like, boom, on the screen. And seeing it on a huge screen, all the sound around you, it's like no better way.
In general, I thought that the movie was well paced.
Yeah.
They do a good enough job changing up the settings and the scenarios. And again, because this is in the slasher realm, you get a nice big ensemble cast.
Yeah, you got Addison Rae in there.
Yeah, I didn't know who that was, but
I know.
Sure.
Why do I know everything? I'm too old to know who she is.
She plays Gabby, one of the kids. So there's Jessica as the main, Nelver as Jessica. I don't really know a lot of these actors and actresses. They're like newer people. And then there's Jenna Warren, who plays Yulia.
Mm-hmm.
You got Gabriel Davenport as Scuba. He's one of the football jock guys, which is cool. There's the football jock guys in the original Grindhouse trailer too.
Yeah, I love the joke on his name.
Yeah.
Like, why do they call
Claude
you Scuba?
Diving.
Because my last name is Diving. Like, what's your first name? Claude.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, Scuba's better. So good.
And then we have his counterpart is Evan.
Mm-hmm.
He's the other jock kid. So yeah, it's a big old cast of young people.
Yep.
And then we do have some familiar faces, like Patrick Dempsey's in this movie. He plays the sheriff. Mm-hmm. And then we have Rick Hoffman as Thomas Wright. He plays Jessica's dad.
Yep.
He's got like a funky looking look, man. He's got that dastardly mustache,
What's so funny is like I was thinking that the whole time and had no thought of bringing it up.
Really?
Just trying to be nice, but he's got beaver teeth. He looks like an exaggerated Cartoon Network bad guy.
Yeah, I could see
like
that.
Put a top hat on him and like he's stealing your money as Mr. Monopoly. I don't know.
Which is, he actually has a great look for a bad guy.
Yeah.
An evil villain.
But he's not evil enough in this.
No, they kind of started off that way because he's dating like this trophy wife, played by Karen Clichet, Kathleen.
Mm-hmm.
And, they do this whole setup of the film of like, Black Friday, which I think is just perfect.
I
Right?
agree. I think that I was nervous about how they were going to pull this together.
Mhm.
Like, what was going to be the catalyst that creates the slasher.
Yeah. So
But I
let's
think-
hold that until the spoiler section.
Okay.
I
But I'm
think.
just saying, like, I do think that using Black Friday, which is
Yeah.
what they do,
to set the stage.
was ideal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's dating this trophy wife, Kathleen. She's really pushing him to keep the store open on She wants him to open it on Thanksgiving, right? Out of greed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, then we get Gina Gershon plays Amanda Collins. We got a whole mess of people here, including Tim Dillon,
Yeah.
Long Island native Tim Dillon.
Tim Dillon.
Who's, a superstar comedian right now. I was like,
Mhm.
wow, he's in this movie. But I guess he's getting into acting because why not? Get your bag, Tim.
Amen.
All in all, I think I would say that I enjoyed this movie. It's entertaining, right?
I would say it hits and ticks the boxes you need. Like,
Yeah.
the story is engaging enough.
Mm-hmm.
The kills are savage as hell.
Mm-hmm.
The gore is on point.
Yes.
And it does a good enough job keeping you guessing about who done it.
Yes.
So, like, those are the things you need.
Yeah, and like I said, it's very much in the vein of Scream.
Yeah.
Right.
Very much.
And that's sort of like, it was one of my dislikes on this was it has like this revenge plot, which is honestly the same thing as Scream. It is a revenge plot. There's this masked killer that's going to come take revenge. The same thing with I Know What You Did Last Summer, right? These are all, it's just like, why is this the recipe all the time? Always, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like if I got the opportunity to make a slasher movie, like, I would like throw the freaking book out, like make something new.
I
out of
mean,
it.
imagine like a slasher movie set in like New York City. Because these things are always
cool idea.
small town.
Small suburban
They're always
town.
small. Everybody knows each other.
The sheriff.
There's always the 5 cops, like, and like they're besties with the cops. Like, no one's besties with the cops, okay? Like, it's 2023.
I guess closest you get to something like that is Maniac. Takes place in the urban environment. And that movie it's pretty scary. It's a frightening concept.
Oh, yeah. That was another movie where I looked away about 100 times. But yeah, I don't know. I think like the small town thing is done. Give me a slasher in a different place.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just, because you can come away from the movie and go, that was fun, that was enjoyable. And I think part of what makes it enjoyable is sort of the familiarity of it, like the predictability of going from point A to point B is kind of fun. Like you can kind of pull your brain out and just be like, all right, just enjoy it for what it is. And I did.
Yeah.
But then at the end of the day, I'm just thinking like, this always happens to me. I'm like, wow, but it could have been so much better, right? That's the thing.
But it's not your art, Mark.
No.
So,
what do you think of John Carver, the killer character itself? Because just in general, like we were going over the cast before, one of the things that I struggle with in this movie is I can't point to a character that is great. There's not one great character in my eyes that's like
no, they're all
super
half developed.
iconic, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think I love the tie-in to Massachusetts as a whole. Like, I spent a lot of time up there. And so I think the way that they truly captured the mass hole is ideal.
Yeah,
Like,
okay.
they got that rivalry kind of spirit, the way they talk, the accents, they got spot on with so many references. They had Papagenos in there. They had Jimmy's. They had like all the like things that you know as someone who like really is like small town Massachusetts. So the idea that you would bring in John Carver, a historical figure thing, makes sense to me.
Sure.
Like with the location, with it being Thanksgiving, I think it was a smart move.
Also the name Carver.
Yeah. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I think it all ties together so well, but they obviously needed the mask moment, right? Like a iconic slasher, you got to cover the face.
Yeah.
And I think the way they set up how the mask comes to be is interesting, but the mask itself is giving me like 1980s Halloween costume.
Yeah.
Like, here's my smock and my plastic mask I can't breathe out of. It's not that scary looking.
Yeah.
It's creepy.
It does have a creep factor to it, but It's not scary enough. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that it's not scary because it does have like that sort of like whenever you try to put like a human face into a mask, I think is
Yeah.
always a little
And the like very small cutout on the eyes.
it's always a little off-putting.
I think when it gets burned, the mask.
Spoiler alert.
Is that
Yeah.
does it matter? That's not like, who cares? I'm not telling you how it got burned or what happened.
Yeah.
But that moment, I thought, would be like, okay, there's the mask as we'll know it for a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
But no, switches into a clean one after. What do you mean? Now the mask was like, oh, ew, ominous.
You gave it a little something, something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was the moment where it defined the mask,
Mm-hmm.
but it didn't go that way.
Yeah, I mean, I wish it was a little bit scarier. I understand in the context of the story that they're telling why it is the way it is because it's something that they're giving out to everybody in the town.
And everyone has one.
Everybody's wearing one, which, it has that element of like, who's the killer? Because all these people are going to be wearing it during the parade.
It's like later Halloween where like everyone has a Mike Myers mask. Right. Like everyone has a Jason mask, like it's
conceptually I get it. You wouldn't really put out a mask like that to a broad audience of the whole village like that if it was scary. Like you're not trying to scare
You're
people.
giving it to kids. But in the context of someone dressed as a straight up pilgrim with it on, it's pretty horrifying.
Yeah.
Wielding an axe.
Yeah. I mean, just overall things are just like a little bit of a mess story-wise. And I think some of it is because there's not really an iconic character. There's not really too many interesting subplots. In fact, none of the subplots did I find myself engaged in whatsoever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, in that regard, like the film lacks depth. It doesn't have. Because if I think back to Scream, almost every single one of those characters is iconic. You know what I mean? Like,
you remember their names even.
And
like
it was
Sidney Prescott.
Yeah, and it was almost instantaneously that way.
Right. You knew exactly what you needed to know about them. I actually think Scream is written more as almost like even like a serious character development script. Like they really do it as like a story and there just happens to be a killer running around. Whereas this feels like you made that, what did you liken it to? My Bloody Valentine, like the cheesiness of My Bloody Valentine and like just a bunch of kids that are all attractive.
I think that's the bad side of Eli Roth actually is his casting sometimes it's baffling to me. I think he does have a tendency to be like, I need to have the hottest chicks in it. You know? And it's like, I mean, I get it. And the genre always had, the Scream Queens and the Final Girl, and they always had some sort of a sex appeal. Like, I get that that's part of it. Yeah. And I know that these are young girls and they're the popular kids, so obviously they're going to be. But that's what I mean is like your skin is just a copying of this same idea and concept over and over again. Yeah. Just reskinned now into a Thanksgiving theme. It's like you took Scream and just like, what if it was a Thanksgiving slasher instead? And you get Thanksgiving. Yeah. So I think
following a very simple formula. Yeah. Everybody's a suspect.
Exactly. So I think maybe that's almost like what hurts it from becoming iconic is like it feels like a rehash.
Too formulaic.
Yeah.
I do think though, in the vein of the slashers that have come out, like this one was the most entertaining I've seen in a while.
Sure, I would agree with that. Yeah. So let's get into a little bit of spoilers here. So if you want, you can skip ahead to the game, or you could listen if you don't care. But I just want to talk about real quick, like just our favorite scenes. And I think we were starting to get into it. The setup of this film being Black Friday.
Yep.
I thought it would. You know what it reminded me of? The way that they set this up with the whole Stampede thing and the Black Friday. It had a little bit of that Final Destination vibe to it.
Yeah, because like you knew the entire time something bad was about to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like immediately your sixth senses go up.
Yeah, he does a really good job of recreating that feeling of like something's about to go down.
And I've worked in those scenarios. In those Black Friday
are banging on the door.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy, that's scary.
I've done the Black Friday chaos,
zombie-esque,
or the Thanksgiving, I should say, chaos, like because it happens at 6 p.m. Like that's what stores do, and it definitely is scary how angry people get for free shit.
Like the waffle iron,
but like it's a real thing, and I think he captured it for sure. Like how many videos have you seen of like Walmart's on Black Friday like years ago? I think it's less now because the internet has changed like the need for that. But when you didn't really have that, when Amazon wasn't taking over everything, this is what it was like. People would literally fight each other to be first. Camp out.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it. I guess it has subdued with the online shopping.
It
right?
for sure
And
depends
now
where
you have
are.
like Cyber Monday and stuff too.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Any way they could freaking
And they also start these sales now 3 weeks like earlier. It's like not even Black Friday anymore.
I know.
Yeah. But terrifying. Like iconic, like the opening Scream scene with Drew Barrymore, like a great way to entryway it, a great way to tell the story and like create, you know, that fear head on.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. We got our 2 security guards are trying to hold everybody back. One of them being Tim Dillon, which is funny. And this sets the stage for our revenge plot, right? Because a bunch of people are gonna get hurt, injured, die here. It's not gonna be good. So that sets the stage for obviously when all things go awry and people get trampled and get killed. The guy who wants revenge because of this, our killer, our mysterious killer, is going to target Jessica and her friends, along with her dad and Kathleen and the whole family are going to get terrorized the following year. I know what you did last Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So you like the setup too. We were both in.
Yeah, and there's 2 real great moments in that chaos in terms of, again, the kills and the gore.
Obviously, all of the kills stand out. I don't like the kill on the waitress lady, which is a shame because I love how it starts.
Oh, when her face freezes to the door.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and then the ripping of the skin. Oh my God. Ugh. But I think what makes that one extra good is that she feels like she gets away.
I know.
I loved the break of like, wait, he's just toying with her?
Yeah, it's a good scene.
Yeah, and it worked out just so well until her actual kill. Like, that's another one where you just have to like let it go. Take it for the gore it is and let it go.
Yeah, this is where like with Eli Roth sometimes I'm like, I get like he put a lot of time and effort into like orchestrating a kill like that where a dumpster was gonna chop her in half. But I think sometimes what happens is like ideas like that seem so much better in your head.
Yeah.
Because obviously I don't think it's physically possible. Like the way that she gets chopped in half from this dumpster, just the lid smashing down and cutting her in half.
It doesn't make sense.
I just don't think physically it's possible. So like you ask like a visual effects artist to do that and there's no reference for it. It's not really something that's like physically.
Yeah.
So you end up with like a goofy comic cartoon version of what that is supposed to look like.
Yeah.
And it makes you laugh instead of gasp almost.
And this goes back to like the whole, how he takes the kills almost as the baseline of the story, right? Like here's the kills, here's where I want them to go. And I got to build everything around it because John Carver needs certain parts of the body for his display.
Yeah.
So he needs one that he showcases, like, here I am, this is what I'm doing.
I like
you get the bottom half.
The idea of the table display is cool with the place that everybody's like name setting on.
Yeah, this is, again, back to the things I like about the updating of this is if you compare to Scream, it was the phone calls, right? That's what makes Scream iconic. No one talks on the phone anymore, let's be real. So what did he do? Tagged people in photos. Mm-hmm. Tagging people in photos was a perfect get with the times change to mirror what Scream was doing, but make it current.
I agree. That was a great idea.
Yeah. And like your phone dinging and the dread of like, oh my God, what am I tagged in? Like,
it does get
so
a little, it's a little silly at some point because we kind of talked about this after the movie where it feels like all of the dialogue is just plot driven.
Yeah.
Like you don't get any moments where the characters interacting feel like real people talking. Right.
Yeah.
So you don't ever get like lost in like, oh, this is a plausible community of people that know each other and you can feel their chemistry as friends and that they're kind of goofy like this. And there's these attributes and to their whole group dynamic. It's really everything is just about the plot.
Yeah. They're bound by this and this alone.
Yeah. So like even when it's like the tagging of the photos, like he has to orchestrate it in a way where like the one character comes in and is like, we've been tagged in a photo again. He's like holding up the phone. Yeah. And then they're like, oh my God. And then they all look at their phones like
something happens and then the photo tags and then they're chasing down what's going on with the photo and then something happens and it does it again. Whereas like I can think in Scream of multiple situations where like you just had the moments. Like you have, Randy just talking about the horror movies.
Yeah, like I guess it's okay to have like plot-driven dialogue in a film like this because you do want to keep the pace up. You don't want to bog it down with too much. But at the same time, why does it feel so much more organic in Scream than it does in Thanksgiving? Like for some reason,
because like this group of kids becomes like investigators. Like in Scream, they never really they were still
kids.
They
never take it serious, really.
No, they're still like, remember they have a whole party when there's a killer on the loose. And they like bring everybody to one house and like no one's stressed about this killer. And it's very different in that sense where it's like this girl is just like out to be a vigilante against Black Friday completely. And like the killer comes and all of a sudden they're all smarter than the cops and they got to figure this out.
I will say this. If I'm comparing John Carver to Ghostface, John Carver is a more brutal, cerebral killer, I think, than Ghostface is. If it wasn't for the fact that John Carver, like we said, doesn't look that scary, he'd be a more terrifying person, I think, to have in pursuit of you than Ghostface. But Ghostface just looks and appears so much more menacing.
Yeah, there's not. I was trying to think about it, but like there is a heavy gutting gore scene, right? Like Ghostface is big on the gut you like a fish.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but yeah, I think that this goes beyond. Like, I mean, he really takes it to another level with like the kills here.
I also, one of my other highlight kills was the whole Yulia death scene. When he uses what are those things that you use to
holders?
Yeah, the corn cob holders. Sticks them like right in her ears. Great little use of that. She's talking to her boyfriend at the time. Scuba is her boyfriend. They're FaceTiming on the phone. She's getting ready because her dad's like,
we're getting out of here.
We're going to Florida. Like, you're not getting killed. And, John Carver attacks her while she's on the FaceTime, and Scuba and Jessica are in the car.
Yep.
And what the hell? Like, they just happened to be, I guess, like 30 seconds from her house.
Yeah, they were going there.
Okay, because they like got there like right away. It was like the perfect
small town vibes.
Yeah, there's all like these convenient timing and everything. But whatever, it's fun. Again, the pacing, just keep it up. I'm good
keep going, keep going.
I'm along for the ride.
Again, the kills are taking my attention way more than anything else. You're still recovering from what you just saw.
When he throws her on the table saw.
Oh my God. Because you're just like, again, she's about to survive, but nope, stumble, boom. And they're just like, it's like that moment where you see something's about to happen and like they could have jumped in quick and maybe she just would have lost an arm, but like it took way too long to react.
No, all that and just the spraying of the blood
everywhere. The guts again, no shortage of like really trying to do the like chop meat guts.
Mm-hmm. My favorite scene though is the Kathleen scene.
Iconic from the trailer.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the ending of it, but yeah.
Well, yeah, it ties in.
You knew what it was bringing on.
Yeah, because Carver he's got them all drugged after the parade. Because the parade scene is kind of fun too. That there's like a direct tie to the trailer there with him decapitating the
turkey,
mask,
the Mayflower float. They literally copied the same Mayflower float.
Right.
Yeah, the chaos of the parade in that moment. Yeah, which I thought was another really nice moment, like something subtle, but like. When you see shot for shot, it still matches up. So it was another like moment of giving the people what they want. Here was the trailer that you were so excited for. People demanded this movie, and like I'm giving you as much of it in this film as I can.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, it's Thanksgiving. I think when people think about Thanksgiving, you think about a parade. So yeah, and I guess they do this parade in Plymouth. Is that like a real thing?
I mean, again, Plymouth is a historical town for Thanksgiving, so like of course it's going to be chaotic and. People love the nostalgia and all that.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, my favorite scene though is the Kathleen death scene where because he captures them all at the parade and she's sort of the first one that we see kind of wake up after he's got them captive, but she's not one of the places at the table. She's actually the turkey that he's going to serve. She's the meal.
And again, I think it makes sense to me because she's the villain.
Yeah, I guess
Ultimately,
she's the most greedy person.
She is the most greedy. She is the reason the store opened at 6 p.m. She gave her husband the idea to do it. She's the one who pushed for it. You find out at some point that she deleted footage from the situation to avoid accountability. So it makes sense that she
Getting
gets
her comeuppance.
the most savage of them all kill.
That even said, though, I did find myself rooting for her. I don't know
did not.
why. I think it's just because there's something about like him basting her with the butter and like putting the salt on her. Like I'm just thinking like nobody deserves this. And then when they reveal the big oven that he's gonna put her in and he's heating it up, I'm
But
like,
like, where did that oven come from?
well, I mean, they have industrial size ovens, but yeah, I don't know how he got
Not
it
in the
into. I
location.
don't know how he got it into the Carver house. I have no
Get
idea.
the hell out of here. Not possible.
But what a cool set piece, a great location.
Great.
And I think this is like the moment of the film where I'm like, yeah, I'm getting the setting and the tone that I wanted. It's in this scene, and I think it's why I like it.
It's in
the
the
most.
dirty, below the surface room with just chaos everywhere. Everything's disgusting.
But even the way it's like blocked out is very traditional horror where she's going to wake up and he leaves the room and comes back and she's gone. And now we flipped it to where like we're with him, not the victim. And now we're looking for the victim in the room. And that it's kind of cool.
You get those POVs.
We get those changes throughout. And I think it's a cool little touch.
Yeah, but what a way to go.
It works the best here, I think.
I guess to me too, what makes this one even more savage is like, yeah, he cooks her, but then it's the fact that he actually carves her.
Yeah.
Like I did not expect that part of it. And I was like, again, stank face at an 11.
Yeah, the whole scene at the table is just crazy. And the Evan kill with the meat tenderizer.
Plugging the neck and pouring the wine from the girl's neck.
Yeah. Well, it's not wine, it's just blood, but it's meant
wine
to be
from the
pairing.
Neck. Yeah, the asses will go lovely. Like, again, he doesn't have a limit.
The kills and everything, the way they orchestrate them, that's a lot of fun. It's very well done.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the scorecard here.
Yeah.
What did you give it for acting?
For acting, I gave it a 2.
Okay.
A lot of unknown, a lot of like young kids. It just was like, it did what it had to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
I gave it a 2 as well. I wish there would have been a little bit more Tim Dillon scenes. Just because I wanted to kind of see if he could act. And there's not like a whole...
I mean, his whole scene with the cat, I loved that.
It is great.
Where he's like, where's he?
But he's very much like himself.
But I loved that. I love that he's like, show me where he is. Where's he doing?
And he's got the bat.
He's like, fuck.
Yeah, so I gave it a 2 as well. Kills, I went all the way to 4. It's hard to get better kills, especially in the slasher genre than this.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Mm-hmm. Like, all of them were different. Yeah. Things you haven't seen.
The trampoline kill.
He brings the trampoline back. Mm-hmm. He didn't go full. He didn't go the, like, through the chochi over here, like, just, but...
Yeah, he pulled back. Again, it's not full Grindhouse. He pulled back a lot of that raw... Yeah.
A lot of the like super savagery, like there was not TNA in this either. I said, like it for a horror movie,
which is surprising for Eli Roth.
I mean, just slashers in general. There's always a booby scene.
Gore 4.
4. It was real looking. So exactly what I would want to see for a 4.
Yeah. Scare factor. I'm giving it a 2. It's sort of your average scary slasher Hollywood.
Yeah.
Movie made for a mass audience. They're not going to go too crazy with it.
Agreed.
Not making martyrs here, but
no, I need a lot more psychological chaos and ambiance for it to get any higher than a 2.
Right. What did you give it for story?
For story, I just gave it a 2. I think it did what it needed to do. There were definitely some holes, definitely some moments that I'm just like, again, like not real character development here. So
no,
give me like a 2.
For me, I gave it a 1.5.
You pulled a Dolores.
Yeah, because as original as like the kills are and things like that, and obviously he has this original concept that he's pulling from with the other trailers. So you want to... I've seen some of this already, but it was originally his idea anyway. But like I was saying, none of the subplots are interesting. Mm-hmm. I can't point to one great character in the story, which usually means that the story's bad.
Yep.
Like you're saying, if you don't care about the characters because you don't really learn about them, or there's not really any kind of interesting subplots to hang on to, and the main plot itself is just a rehash of a revenge plot that we've seen time and time again.
Time and time again.
So I don't know. I just find
Not
myself
spoiling it because we want you to know. You'll find out who the killer is.
Yeah, and I remember like the first time I watched Scream, I was so engaged with trying to figure out who the killer was. This one, quite honestly, I almost didn't even care halfway through.
Yeah, I mean, I think again, it was truly me. For me, I was in it to see what the kills were.
That's what I think. Halfway through the movie,
That's all I wanted.
I gave up on the characters and the story, and I just went, all right, I want to see the next kill.
Yeah, that's it.
And I was like trying to guess like who'd be killed next.
Yeah.
Now here's where things get interesting is, it has such a poor story in my mind, but for rewatch, I gave it a 3.
Yeah, because it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the thing. It's like, I want my horror sometimes to just be like a fun watch where you're just like, oh, like, I love that enjoyment of watching something, especially with you, where it's like, oh my God. And we're just like, oh, screaming back and forth. And that's what it gives me.
See, I was going to say,
it's not the story that's keeping me.
I think it cheats because it's a holiday themed movie, Thanksgiving. There's going to be, I could see myself watching this movie again just because it's Thanksgiving.
I don't know if that's my reasoning, but yeah.
No, I'm not saying I would watch this every year. It's like, this is a new tradition where I watch Eli Roth's Thanksgiving. I'm just saying, like, it has that tie back to it where it's like I could find myself rewatching this movie
like at
more
Halloween,
times than you would
watch
think.
Halloween.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it was
2.
fun and enjoyable. You went with a 2 for rewatch?
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to our game here. I think you prepared a head-to-head?
Head-to-head.
Okay, head-to-head.
I mean, how have we not done this before?
All right, what are we doing?
We're doing your ideal Thanksgiving plate.
I usually don't do well with this stuff. I have a tendency to be off the
I know, and I usually am.
Yeah.
You got to be strategic on this one, though.
All right.
Gotta really be strategic. The only exception to our normal rule is that you're choosing, if you are talking about the protein aspect of the dish, you can choose different parts. Rather than
the protein aspect of it? You mean the turkey? Like, why are you explaining it this
I don't know. Maybe your choice would be ham. Some people eat ham on Thanksgiving because they don't like turkey.
So you're leaving this as you can have any protein you want. You don't have to have turkey.
Yeah, because people have turkey and prime rib or turkey and ham. And like, I'm just pointing it out that like choosing turkey, you have to choose the specific part of the turkey in which you put on your dish.
It's un-American to not do turkey. So, all right, who's going first?
That's a good question.
All right, I think you went first last time, so I'll go first.
All right, go ahead.
So I kick it off with the protein aspect of it.
You don't have to. I'm just saying when you choose that.
I'm always and forever going with the turkey leg, okay? Especially like, listen, if you're one of those people that bitches about turkey being dry, take the dark meat. It's got a lot more fat. It's got a lot more juices in there. It's way more tasty.
Okay.
And a turkey leg is just delicious if it's done right.
All right. So my pick, and I'm not going to choose the turkey first because let's be real. Turkey, I'll have as an option, and I need to make sure that I get the accoutrement correct. So I'm choosing mashed potatoes. Classic. Gotta have it with turkey.
Sure.
Or what are you doing? So, gotta put that on my list out the gate.
Yeah, I mean, mashed potatoes, it's a great pick. If you make it with just like the Thanksgiving version of mashed potatoes, is just like a shit ton of butter, like the most unhealthy version of mashed potatoes that you normally don't make.
And then you add gravy on it, like.
Yeah, I'm not a big gravy fan.
Me either, but I'll do it for Thanksgiving.
So if you have the mashed potatoes, I can go right to my sides here because the turkey leg, I think for me, it makes sense first because it's the thing that I don't get ever. So I do definitely look forward to it the most because it's like a once or twice a year type of thing. So if Thanksgiving comes around and I don't get the turkey leg, it's like disappointing.
Yeah.
It's like I have mashed potatoes all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But the stuffing, this is the ultimate side dish on Thanksgiving. Again,
you think that's the ultimate?
Yes, because I don't have it as often. Mashed potatoes, I have a lot.
No, there's just
It's not
something.
as special.
There's something for me about eating the turkey with the mashed potato. So it's like I can't
I get
have those
that.
without each other.
Mhm.
So I'm willing to sacrifice the stuffing for that.
Okay.
But controversial.
Okay.
Controversial.
I think stuffing's gonna be a star
I
here.
I agree. I think that's it. There's a real deciding factor on mashed potatoes versus stuffing.
All right.
All right, so now I can jump into my protein portion, which again, controversial, but I just like the straight white meat breast.
Yeah. I don't think
That's
that's
my thing.
controversial. I think that's what's popular.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I feel like the dark meat tends to be popular because there seems to be less of it on the turkey.
Well,
So
there is less of it, but I think maybe that's why is like because there's always an abundance of the white meat, more people just I think have a tendency to like gravitate towards it because there's the most of.
yeah,
And I'll always take a little piece of the white meat too, I think.
little piece of piece.
Gotta taste it. Yeah, so this is where it kind of gets a little tricky for me because listen, I'm not a casserole guy. I know some people do like casseroles on Thanksgiving. I hate the cranberry crap. Just get it away from me. I know there's like a bunch of people
The
that
one time
prefer
I
it
do eat it.
out of the can. Don't you like it out of the can
I do.
too? It's this
There's just something about the jellied cranberry
see, like
texture
the rings
with
of
the
can.
turkey and then the salty of like the potato. Like it's great.
I don't
All right,
know.
whatever. Hater.
Um, honestly, for me, what my next favorite thing is, and I know this isn't going to be popular, and I'll probably lose, but I don't care. This is what I like.
That's fine. Go. You got to go with your gut, man.
I like the stuffed mushrooms.
Okay. That might be
Yeah,
interesting because
I really love the
I
stuffed
don't know
mushrooms.
if everyone does that.
No, I don't
It's
think
not
so. I
like
think
a
this
classic.
is more like my family thing.
But this is like your ideal Thanksgiving dish.
Yes, this is my ideal Thanksgiving dish. These three things are always on my plate.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to actually have to go with what we just discussed
Mhm.
and the cranberry sauce because it's iconic and because it's the one time I eat it.
Okay. Yes, that's fair. That's fair.
Like, I will not just be like, oh, yes, let me grab some cranberry sauce this week. So I feel like you got to have it. It's a flavor profile thing. That is something you taught me.
Yeah, it's a flavor combo
yeah.
for you. I mean, it sounds absolutely disgusting.
No,
to
it's
me,
so
but-
good. I'm going to force you to eat it.
All right, so I got my protein with the turkey leg, which is I have to have that on Thanksgiving. It has my name on it every year. The family knows that I get one.
That and the butt of the bread.
The butt of the bread. I love the butt of the Italian bread. Yeah. The stuffing's on there. The stuffed mushrooms are on there. I'm all about stuffed
Stuff.
But I need vegetables.
Yeah, that's got to be my next.
So my favorite vegetable on Thanksgiving has got to be the Brussels sprout. The roasted Brussels sprouts with garlic, salt, olive oil, simple dish.
I legit
just insane.
Was worried about this last pick
Mm.
because I thought we might be on the same wavelength. But again, I'm going to go with something a little left field, but I love green beans. The lineup of turkey, mashed potato, green beans, and the cranberry sauce is like a perfect plate.
I mean, you literally just went the exact classic, like the stock plate of, like if you ask an artist to like draw me a Thanksgiving plate.
Did I?
Like this is what they would draw: turkey, mashed potatoes, cranberry sauce, and green beans.
Listen,
how
if it ain't broke, don't
vanilla,
fix it.
How vanilla of you.
And I am the least vanilla person possible.
Oh man.
Yo, I'm playing to win. So normally,
I'm hungry now.
Normally head to head is only 4, but I'm gonna throw in
the dessert.
You gotta
throw in.
Okay, why'd you had to encroach upon my big reveal that this was gonna be the thing.
I'm on the same
Thanks
page.
a lot. All right, well, ding, ding, ding. You get to choose your treat of choice after you have engorged yourself on your plate. What is your Thanksgiving treat of choice?
Well, because it's Thanksgiving, the only thing I could think of that's Thanksgiving oriented in terms of desserts are pies. And I'm not a pie kind of guy, but I will pick a pie here. I'm going to pick my favorite pie.
I was going to say, you are a pie in some ways.
My favorite pie is apple pie.
Boom.
So I'm going to go with the apple pie. I assume I know your pick.
Nope.
Okay.
This is where it's going to go left field.
Yeah, apple pie. I mean, especially with the scoop of vanilla ice cream, a little coffee, wind it down. You know, I think that's a perfect Thanksgiving for me.
I'm going to go left field here and say sweet potato pie.
Sweet potato pie.
I am not a big pumpkin pie. First of all, I'm not a pie fan. I think pie is trash.
I said I'm not a big pie fan either.
Yeah. We've talked about this. We had arguments with your sister for her wedding when they were choosing an array of pies. And I said, nobody wants
donuts.
pie.
Yeah,
I said, donuts. People want donuts. Lo and behold, what was left? All the pie.
All the pie.
What wasn't left?
Donuts.
Donuts. You're welcome.
Yeah.
So, however, in the spirit of nostalgia, in the spirit of the event, pies are the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I am not a pumpkin pie fan because I don't think it's ever like flavorful enough for me. I don't know. It feels just like a weird texture and I don't like it.
I get it.
My sister actually makes a sweet potato pie with coconut, but I'm not going to go that specific here.
Okay.
But that's
the one.
Amazing. So I'm going to just go straight sweet potato pie. Again, little scoop of ice cream. Really sets it off. So that's my lineup.
All right, fantastic. So I have the turkey leg, the stuffing, the stuffed mushrooms, Brussels sprouts, and I'm capping off my dessert with a delicious apple pie.
Yummy yum. I've got mashed potatoes, turkey breast, cranberry sauce, green beans, and a slice of sweet potato pie. Now we see who wins.
All right. I mean, you've got a very safe lineup here. I definitely feel like I'm going to go off the rails.
I mean, yes and no. Neither one of us chose yams.
Oh, no.
People love that
technically you did choose yams. You just put them in your pie.
No, it's not even close to the same thing.
Yams and sweet potatoes are the same.
No, but like candied yams and a sweet potato pie are not the same thing. Candied yams are sending me to the doctor for diabetes.
I'm not even sure what a candied yam is.
Yeah, nothing you would ever eat. It's basically a bag of brown sugar enveloping your potatoes. And then marshmallows on top.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, so that'll do it for this episode. I think, we're going to be returning now with Christmas episodes, which will be fun. Maybe we will sort of bridge the gap with a horror Christmas movie before we go full on Christmas, maybe.
Maybe.
We'll see. We haven't really discussed what movies we'll be
We've got a few. No, I do. I have a
okay.
list. I've already chosen.
All right.
Okay.
So that'll do it. I hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving, and we will see you next time. And remember,
we don't give awards for art.
She's looking like a plastic doll.